me tell you, it's too late. That's what I hear from them. Probably. Storm that's rolling through Northern California is going to cause some problems. They're telling people not to drive anywhere in the Tahoe Basin. There are blizzard warnings that have been posted for that area. On the other end of the spectrum, the Smokehouse Creek fire that broke out earlier this week in the Texas Panhandle is now up over 1.1 million acres. It has become the largest, most destructive fire in the state's history. They say it's merged with another wildfire. It stretched across a big part of the Panhandle into Oklahoma. And as of right now, it's only about 5% contained, but they did get some rain and snow in some of those areas yesterday. So the expectation is they'll be able to cut at least some more fire line around it today.
It was a popular day in Orange County at the clerk recorder offices for weddings yesterday. 180 couples made appointments to get married yesterday. That's up from about 100 on a typical day.
Again, I think totally driven by dudes.
Yeah, they want to
married on
celebrate.
February 29th.
They want to celebrate every 4 years.
A federal judge has held investigative reporter Catherine Herridge in civil contempt because she has not divulged her source for a series of Fox News stories about a Chinese-American scientist who was investigated by the FBI but never charged. The district judge in this case imposed a fine of $800 per day until Catherine Herridge reveals her source, but the fine will not go into effect immediately so that she has time to appeal that decision.
Yesterday was Michael Moore's last day as LAPD chief. Karen Bass swearing in the interim this morning. Steve Gregory joins us about the future of the LAPD and which direction it's going to take.
Yeah, Dominic Choi, been with the department 28 years. This morning at 8:26, he was sworn in as the 58th chief of the department, and it is the third largest department in America. And he becomes the first Asian American to lead an agency this size. These are all very significant points, but as you'll hear, Choi, just after he was sworn in by Mayor Bass, he kind of acknowledges the benchmark, but he sort of plays it off.
For me, today marks more than just a personal achievement. It symbolizes the progress that we're making towards a more inclusive and representative law enforcement agency. It speaks volumes about the diversity that this city has, the vibrance and the dynamics that we all know it to be. And as we celebrate this milestone, let us recognize that our differences are our strength. I know that's cliche, but it's absolutely true. We learn from one another every day, every moment. And we need to really value and cherish those moments. It's not just about breaking barriers. So the first American under API is achieved. That's great, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my heritage. But it's really about building bridges. It's about this great department, this great city, and the direction that we are leading this nation in.
I just feel like we need a better way to say our strength is our diversity and our diversity is our strength. It just does sound very cliche. But you have to be
right. He said acknowledges. He acknowledges.
Yeah.
I know it sounds cliche, and I don't want to say he's downplaying the role that his Korean American heritage plays in this position, because he talks about that. But he also says I think he says it's more about general diversity than him being the first API.
Right.
And I thought that was kind of interesting. That because everyone was making a big deal about it, but him.
Yeah, I mean it is a very big deal for the LAPD to be a force of everybody.
Oh, sure.
That if you have an interaction with the LAPD, it's somebody who more often than not looks like you, or whoever you may be.
And one of the initiatives that Dominic Choi was part of, because you got to remember he was brought up through the ranks by Chief Moore. So in essence, he is sort of a Chief Moore in terms of policy, in terms of values and direction, because they worked so closely together. Choi was his chief of staff at one point. So they're very aligned in the value structure and in some of the initiatives and some of the reforms they brought in. One of those, they wanted the diversity of the department to match the diversity of the community right down to the stats. So, and I don't know the stats off the top of my head, I can't remember them, but when you got an X amount of percentage of Caucasian, X amount of percentage of Black, he wanted that same representation numbers in the department. That was the now, that was before the events of 2020. And now the goal is just getting bodies. I mean, they're going to recruit,
but in general is probably down.
Right, but and they will be for funding, way more funding, which was completely opposite of what they were pushing for a few years ago.
Where do we stand? So Chief Choi is the interim chief, and he's not eligible to be the next chief.
Correct.
Based on the way the city charter is written. So what is the process? How long does he expect to be the interim chief?
Well, Errol Southers, who is the president of the police commission, said it could be up to 9 months before a new permanent chief is selected. And the process plays out like this. It might be different as of today, but as of a week or so ago, when I last checked, the job hadn't even been posted yet. So there was not really an official posting for this job. They said, Mayor Bass said that they were going to bring in a headhunter group, and they were going to go out and look for candidates around the country, which is a pretty standard procedure. But there is a lot of effort, especially with an agency this size and with its magnitude, of trying to hire from within. And because I've talked to 2 people that want to be candidates, and they both said it's not even posted yet, and they're kind of chomping at the bit to throw in their hat. When that happens, the commission will go through, whether they work with the headhunter group or not, they'll work to narrow it down to at least 3 candidates. And those 3 candidates will be presented to Mayor Bass. And then Mayor Bass will get to sit and interview each of the candidates individually. She and her team will get to vet each of the candidates. They will be thoroughly vetted, presumably, by the time they reach Mayor Bass's desk. Now, she has the option of selecting one of those 3 as her choice, one of those 3 finalists, or she can say, I don't like any of them. Go back and do it again.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you for the update. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Coming up next, we will talk weather. Gary and Shannon will continue. You're happy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You were going to look at my face and say what's wrong, and I'm happy. Everything's fine. Yes.
Amy King is
Fun
on
money.
my 24-hour newsroom.
The LAPD is dealing with a big shortage of 911 operators. There are 162 unfilled police service representative positions. That has led to mandatory overtime for the staff that is working. Records showed last year the LAPD was only able to hit its goal of answering 90% of 911 calls within 15 seconds, 55% of the time. Carol G's private plane had to make an emergency landing at Van Nuys Airport. The Grammy Award-winning Colombian superstar and her entourage had taken off from Burbank last night. The pilot reported smoke in the cockpit around the Cajon Pass, so it turned around and landed safely a short time later. Hollywood Boulevard has been closed near the Dolby Theater, so bleachers can be put up and the red carpet can be rolled out ahead of next Sunday's Academy Awards. The stretch of roadway between Orange and Highland will remain closed to all traffic until 6 a.m. March 13th. The Oscars start at 4 p.m. March 10th. Decreasing chance of rain through the afternoon, highs in the 50s to the low 60s. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places. We've got problems continuing in Corona on the 91.
From an earlier rack, westbound side there, that's being cleared from middle lanes. Right now you're seeing North Copeland Drive on the westbound side out the 91 as you're coming out Riverside from before Bentonville, yeah. And it does remain a little bit busy ahead for you toward about 8.6 further westbound on the 91. Actually looks pretty good until you get to the Anaheim Hills area. From before Lakeview to 55, a little slow going for your drive. Also checking out your drive on the 57. Northbound side as we go through the Grand Canyon, leaving Pathfinder. That'll be slow going for you into Diamond Bar as you head toward the 60. And also slow going for you north and southbound along the 71. Between the 10 and the 60, seeing a busy drive for you in both directions. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Paulino-Keeney.
History is beautiful, brutal, and often ridiculous. Join me, Ben Bull, and me, Noel Brown, as we dive into some strangest stories from across the span of human civilization in ridiculous history. Whether we're exploring the accidental invention of hold music or how people used to plant pineapples, join us to hear the many ways history can be oh so ridiculous. Listen to Ridiculous History on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your favorite podcast.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older, or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
All the good stuff.
stuff. Yeah. Camps keeps you on top of pop culture.
CBS's Tracker notched a third straight week as the most watched show in the season to date. Nielsen's scripted TV rankings through February 25th, logging an average of 10.8 million. CBS also scored, with Young Sheldon repeating in its second place with 7.5 million viewers. Third place FBI holding steady with 7.4 mil, and NCIS right behind with 7.3 million viewers on average. Chicago Fire and Chicago Med on NBC each rose place to numbers 5 and 6. CBS's Ghosts dipped back 2 spots to 7. The networks The Equalizer and FBI International each held in place at numbers 8 and 9, while Blue Bloods ticked up to 10th place. All right, and that's what's poppin' on Camps on iHeartRadio. Taking them on their first real roller coaster.
Hey, buddy, come on over. Let's measure.
Okay.
Just tall enough.
Yes.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed. Get the latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by iHeartRadio and the Ad Council.
Let me tell you what I would do, okay? This is not a legal issue. This is a handle issue. He says, have a blessed day. You reply with, may you rot in hell. And just stay there. And he goes, have a blessed day. And you go, you rot in hell. And you see who gives up first. Play chicken with the guy. That's what I would do.
Handle on the Law, tomorrow morning at 8 on KFI.
And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app. If you're injured and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com. Is this before car accident? Def Leppard drummer got in a car accident, lost an arm. I don't remember the timeline. I remember it was just an amazing thing that he was able to come back and play the drums.
It's a wild thing. See, it was New Year's Eve 1984.
So this song was before
Yes.
the accident.
This was two-armed drums. But watching him, I mean, I just saw him in recent years out at the Fabulous Forum, and it was incredible. I mean, you get a workout just watching him.
Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Don't forget, later in the show, what you learned this week on the Gary and Shannon show, you can always leave us a message on the talkback feature on the iHeart app. Just hit that little microphone and it leaves a quick message. It comes right into the computer here. You can do that at any point during the show. We say something stupid, you can always tell us. Or we mispronounce something, you can always tell us. Or we say something that you don't agree with.
Or
You can always tell us.
you have feedback about the whale story.
Nobody wants, I don't think anybody wants to remember that whale story.
Mondo
That's
said,
such a weird.
Mondo said it was dirty.
Yeah, it was.
You guys, again, I see the headline, whales for the first time on camera having sex,
Right.
and I thought it was a story about nature.
Yeah,
and,
love.
and can you believe that's the first time it was caught on camera? That's crazy.
What was that one male whale doing to the other male whale?
And then it was rape, and then it was necrophilia. I didn't know where it was headed when I began. You know, sometimes that's the way journeys are. You know, you start off, and you don't know what's going to pop up on
It was
your
like
journey.
watching the movie Poor Things. You thought it was going to be something fun.
Yeah.
The federal judge overseeing the classified documents prosecution of Donald Trump has been hearing arguments about a potential trial date. This is a crucial decision, could affect whether the president and leading Republican candidate faces a jury this year on charges that he was keeping top secret records in Mar-a-Lago. This trial currently set for May 20th. The judge in the case, Aileen Cannon, has already postponed multiple dates. She's weighing competing requests from prosecutors and defense attorneys. Prosecutors have argued for a July 8th trial date. Trump's attorneys have said, let's push it till after the election, but if we can't do that, we'll go for August. So just in terms of the campaign going forward, July 8th is what the prosecutors want. July 15th starts the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. I was just looking at some of the traffic cameras. Caltrans has a bunch of traffic cameras around the state, and some of them that are up in the Tahoe City area, North Shore Tahoe, they are absolutely devoid of any cars. If you look at the camera that's at Kings Beach, the intersection that's as you come in from Highway 267 towards Crystal Bay,
That's where I stay. That area.
there is not a car to be seen. I mean, there are cars in the picture but covered under a foot of snow.
I mean, it's Tahoe. It's February, March.
But they're talking about the potential for 12 feet of snow
Stay home.
over the course of the next several days. They've already closed several roads up in the Tahoe area. A lot of you've heard Amy mention that the ski areas have been closed, and it's going to be a rough weekend there.
Hey, we mentioned Panera Bread and this whole fiasco yesterday about the minimum wage law. It goes in effect on April 1st, $20 an hour. This was a bill the governor signed last year, and all the talk was that there was an exemption for Panera because there's a loophole that says that this will not apply to restaurants that have on-site bakeries and sell bread as a standalone menu item. The governor's office came out late yesterday and said, this is absolutely absurd. Panera Bread is not exempt from the law. And I think the way that they've gotten around this is just simple semantics. Does the law say there is an exemption for Panera Bread? No. And that's all they're claiming.
Interesting.
Yo,
To be exempt from the minimum
What's up,
wage
Johnny?
law,
How you living, baby?
would be that a fast food restaurant
Where is
have
that
to
food?
What's new?
increase their minimum wage to $20 an hour by April 1st.
How you doing?
To be
Yeah, you're
exempt
on.
from
Go for it, baby.
Restaurants have to produce bread
Hello?
on site.
Hi.
Which, again, the other
Hi,
question
no.
about this whole thing is...
Living the
nobody
dream.
has
How are you?
explained to us
We got James Kaminsky in this biatch.
exemption.
Bro,
What in the world about bread?
How you living, Johnny?
What makes it special that you could then pay people less
What's
than
new?
$20 an hour? I don't understand that.
Well, and the story goes back to Newsom and his
Oh,
his
no
buddy,
problem at
Greg
all.
Flynn, who owns more than 20 Panera restaurants in the state. It should be said that Greg Flynn also owns a number of fast food restaurants.
what's going on, Rabbi? What are you up to today?
Well, frankly, I kind of did the same thing that you did, James. So I don't blame you. What happened to our man? What the hell happened to the other guy? Anyway, what am I doing? Well, I tested this Twitter thing and Twitter Spaces. It goes exactly, and I mean, unless the app crashes or I lose power or the Wi-Fi goes out, it goes 24 hours, 3 minutes every single time. Meaning there's like a maximum set on it. And I'm not the only person to have that. Every other person I know gets it exactly the same, 24 hours and 3 minutes, except there are a couple people I have known who have some kind of weird device that can go longer than that. But I don't know what devices they have. And at this point, it's not that important if it goes longer. So I just started up another one, and I'm not promoting it yet. But tonight, we're going to make that be big for trivia. We're going to make it big for karaoke. We're going to make it big for a lot of things. So the other idea was to kind of theme this. And so while I don't know exactly how much time I have, I could start with the Joe Rogans. And like it'll take me a little bit of work, but I could probably figure out. In fact, I could probably do it with this phone. So here's what I need to do. I need to get a hacked version of a Android Spotify APK that will allow me to play Joe Rogan from the start on Spotify. And, well, why Joe Rogan? Well, I like Joe Rogan, but a lot of people here do. He's got a lot of content. Like I could say, oh, well, I want to do, I don't know, whatever other person you want to choose. I want to choose Rosie O'Donnell. Okay. Does Rosie O'Donnell have 1,000 podcast episodes to which we can listen over the course of the next month? Because if she does, let's go. The Rosie O'Donnell podcast sounds great. But I don't know if she does, and it's not as popular. Nobody's going to be like, oh, dog, Rosie O'Donnell, yay. I'm not saying people are going to do the same with Joe Rogan, but at least they're like, okay, well, once they hear, like, immediately they can come in and be like, I know what this is. And that's key to me, as opposed to, I don't know what this is. I don't know to whom I'm listening or whatever. Okay, so.
I saw that he's back on YouTube.
Yeah, so that's a big thing too. He just had an interview with Cat Williams. You know who Cat Williams is?
Yeah, I was kind of watching it last night selectively.
Oh,
That
tight.
was pretty good.
We're gonna watch it. So the fact that he's back on YouTube is a game changer because he can, at least I can stream his stuff, and it's the newest stuff. Like right now, he only has, well, at least before he did this new contract with Spotify, he had like 15 videos on YouTube from his Powerful JRE account, and that's it. Everything else was on Spotify. And I literally would watch those on loop, not because I like them,